Alright guys, welcome to my channel. So on today's video, I'm actually going to do another build for you. This is going to be a do-it-yourself PC gaming build, but this video is going to be a little different. I'm actually going to have someone who has no experience build it. So for all of you who have never built a PC before, if you follow the steps, we're going to go step by step on how to build it with someone who's never done it. So she's going to go ahead and build it while I'll tell her what to do, and you guys can follow along and build the PC at home if you want to. So all these parts aren't actually for me, they're going to be for our guest today, Lauren. Come over here, show everyone your face. So this is Lauren. She's gonna this is her build that we're gonna do today, and she has zero experience building a PC. So she's gonna go step by step and build her own PC, and I'm gonna be here to supervise. But before we get into that, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys all the components that we're gonna be using today. The Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro, the DDR4 with 3200 megahertz. It's a 32 gigabyte set, so she will have plenty of RAM to play any game and edit for multiple videos. She also likes RGB, so that's why she got the RGB stuff. So what we have here is the AMD Ryzen 5 3600X with the 6-core 12-thread processor. With this, you can pretty much game on anything, and you can be able to edit anything you want if you did want to try to do some type of editing, video editing, and that kind of stuff. We also have a 960 gigabyte SATA drive that we got from adata. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but that's going to be where we at least download Windows, and it'll be good to go. It's a solid state drive. So with this one, we have the X570 Gaming Edge with Wi-Fi. It also is ready for the 3000 series desktop processors, so that's going to be good, so we don't have to update the BIOS or anything like that. And then Lauren did actually want Wi-Fi included with it. Even though I told her she could have gone with a Wi-Fi card, she decided to do this, so either way is fine. So for the GPU, she actually got the RTX 2060 from NVIDIA. This is going to be a great graphics card for pretty much any 1080p game that she wants to play. She'll probably put that on all ultra settings, have no problem whatsoever. And she chose EVGA because it's lifetime warranty, so she can always just exchange that if it breaks, which hopefully does not happen. For our cooling system, she actually did get 3 more fans for the up here brand. I don't know exactly what that is, but fans are fans, and they're definitely going to help cool down the system, so it's always good to have some type of extra cooling system other than just the 2 fans that are included with most PC cases. And for the case, she decided to get the Fractal Design Mesh C computer case. She likes white, so that's why she went with white. It comes pretty much with anything you can put in there. I mean, you can build a lot of different type of systems with this PC case, and it looks good, so it's going to be good. And then the last thing she has here is a 650 watt 80 plus bronze power supply, which is plenty enough for her build, even if she ever wants to upgrade. So this is going to be a good power supply for this build. Alright guys, so like I said earlier, I'm going to have Lauren actually build the PC. I'm going to be here step by step to tell her what to do. So she's a newbie, she's never done it, so this is what we're going to do first. So the first things you guys are going to grab is your motherboard, okay? So she already opened it up, the motherboard. She has all the pieces out, which I will tell you what each of them do. But for the most part, we don't have a mat, so I would say to make sure you go on some type of surface that won't conduct any type of electricity. So that's why we're on this wood. So she's going to go ahead and open up this motherboard. If you guys don't have a mat at home, just go ahead and open up that plastic and just try to place it on top of the plastic. Yeah, the only tool you're going to need for any of this is going to be a Phillips head to connect everything. And actually, we're not even going to connect this to the motherboard just yet. We're going to go ahead and put our CPU on here first. That'll be their first next step. So go ahead and grab the CPU. So we're going to go ahead and install the CPU chip. So go ahead and grab the CPU chip. So you're actually going to go ahead and grab that little metal piece right there and lift it up. Bam. So now when you're going to install your CPU, there's a little piece on the CPU. So when you look at your AMD Ryzen chip, there's going to be a little piece of corner there. There's going to show a little design there. That design has to match up on the same design on your CPU right here, or else you're gonna mess up your CPU. So make sure you do it properly and correctly. So go ahead and you don't have to force it in, you just go ahead and just drop it in there, and it should all align on its own. So she has a nice slit in, so just dropped right in, then you go ahead and push back the stick where it was at. Perfect. Now it is locked in place. She actually put the stick back and it was locked in place, so your CPU is ready to go. So the next thing you're going to do is that you're going to install your heatsink CPU cooler. So for those of you who are not going to use the one that AMD is giving you, you are going to have to do an extra step. You're actually going to have to put thermal paste on top of your CPU, and then you're going to have to put your cooler on there. But the AMD come already pre-thermal pasted on there, so we actually are going to skip that step for our stuff. So for her heat cooler, she actually has to uninstall these brackets. If you have the cooler that comes with normally the Ryzen 7 chips, you have a higher cooler that has RGB on it. This one is a little bit different, so she's actually going to install this straight onto it. Take the black piece off and screw those nuts into those holes. You want the wire to be facing the upper part of the motherboard so you can plug it in right there later. So go ahead and install it, Lauren. You got it.
Super nervous right now.
When you screw it, also do not screw to the point where it's gonna break anything. Just screw it where it's nice and snug. Which, as you can see, she's nervous. It's okay to be nervous on your first build because these are some expensive components and everyone gets afraid.
I don't want to break it.
Of course, no one does. It's okay. It's understandable. So as you can see, all she's doing is screwing down those nuts right there. They do have springs, so as long as they're nice and snug, you're good to go. All right, so how was that? That wasn't that hard, was it?
It's nerve-wracking.
She was prepared, but look, she's got it. So now we got the heatsink nice and installed. So the next part we're going to go ahead and install is we're going to put in her RAM. All right, guys, so for your installation for your RAM, which are your DIMM slots, you are gonna have to look at your manual to make sure yours is the best it's gonna be. So for hers specifically, if you look at here, memory module recommendations. So hers, if you only have one single slot, just put it in your, hers is gonna be DIMM A2. But if you have two, which we have today, we're gonna put it in DIMM A2 and DIMM B2. So she's gonna go ahead and do that today. So if you wanna know what direction it is, yeah, you can literally line it up right there. You can see it. Yeah, so for the first thing you're gonna do, which you already did, right? You push these, it's lined up?
Yep.
Yeah, so when you push it down, this will close.
Oh, it closes on its own?
I believe so, go ahead.
Ah.
Yep. There you go, there's the clicking sound.
Ah, okay.
So now she's gonna go ahead and put the second one in. When you push it down, when you have it latched open, all the way down, it'll click on its own. There it is. So now they're perfectly installed.
Cool.
Nice and easy. All right, guys, so we're at now, we have the RAM installed, the CPU installed, and the cooler installed. You can go ahead and install your GPU if you want, but I always figured to do that kind of towards the end because it's so big, and you're gonna have to connect it to your case anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and install the motherboard into the case and then proceed from there. So most of the time your cases will come with the screws, so all you have to do is just literally line them up on your motherboard onto your CPU, depending on what kind of motherboard you have. It might be an ATX or micro ATX, and just screw them in, and make sure you screw them in where they're nice and snug. They don't need to be super tight. You don't want to mess up your motherboard. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and open the case. We took the glass off now, so you're gonna go ahead and take off the other side of the panel. Most of the times your case will have the screws either somewhere inside where your hard drives are at or in the box. So most likely hers are where her hard drives will be under this. So we're gonna go ahead and take this side off. Anyway, so if you look down here, this case specifically has the screws inside this little box right there. So go ahead and take that out. Bam!
Well, that was hidden nicely.
Exactly. So now we should have some screws. Yeah, look at that. All the screws are right there for you to use. All right, guys. So when you're installing your motherboard, you're actually gonna put these little pieces first, right here. If you can look at those. Those are gonna go in all the little spots that are on your motherboard. You can see them depending on which one you're using, either if you're using micro ATX or ATX. You can see one already here pre-installed. It's actually lifted up. You're gonna put those, install those first, then you're gonna put your motherboard on top of it, and then put your screws on, and they're gonna connect to those pieces specifically. So for Lauren's motherboard, as you can see, she has a screw where she needs to put it in right here, screw where she needs to put it in right there, screw where she needs to put it right there. Just follow along the edges of your motherboard and you'll find all the places you need to put in screws, and then you find the same inside here. So Lauren right here is installing the little pieces I was telling you that you're gonna put the motherboard on top of. There are these pieces right there. All right, guys, so Lauren has finished installing those little yellow pieces that you see there. That is where her that's where her motherboard is actually gonna slide on top of. All you have to do is literally get this piece that they send you. You're not gonna be able to see it from this camera, but if you look at it, you can actually put this piece on top of it, and then you get a screwdriver to tighten them on. And just get them nice and snug, but not too tight because you don't want to strip them. Now we're gonna go ahead and install the motherboard. Let's go. So she's going ahead and just lining them up, make sure everything's good to go, and then just go ahead and screw it on. One thing I forgot to mention, guys, if you are installing an M.2 memory slot on your motherboard, because it actually has the places where you can add them on there, I would suggest that you do that before you install your motherboard or right after you're done installing it, before you install anything else. So for like Lauren, as you can see here, she does actually have an M.2 memory slot that she could put in here, but she didn't actually get one, so she's not gonna actually have to take this piece off to install it. But that's what I'm saying. So if you did want to install your M.2, you're gonna have to unscrew these real quick and then install it, and then you can put that cover back on there. All right, guys, so as you can see, she has the motherboard installed. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install her cooling system. So she has 3 fans that she wants to put in here. So she's gonna have it, so she has 2 fans on the top, 2 fans in the front, and 1 fan in the back. So for her case specifically, she's going to go ahead and unscrew this fan off, and she's gonna move that one to one of the ones on the top because she wants to put these other ones in the front. So just depending on which case you kind of have, you have to see if you have to open the front case. Some people, you can just do it from the inside. So we're just going and installing the air cooling system. So all she did was take off the 4 screws that were holding it down. You can do 3 120 millimeter fans or 2 I believe they're 240 or 140. I don't remember fan sizes. So Lauren is deciding to put the two black fans that have no RGB in them on the top to have them as exhausts. And she's gonna move this one up there as well. And she's gonna put the 3 RGB lights she has, 2 in the front and 1 in the back. One thing I did forget to mention, guys, make sure that when you put these in, there is a front and there is a back, okay? So obviously this is the back for these. So if you're gonna put this in the front of your fan, you wanna make sure it's like this and not like this, because it's just gonna be sucking the air out of your PC, and that's not how these things are supposed to cool themselves. All right, guys, so she's finally installed her fans that she wants to use. So she has 2 in the front, 1 in the back, and 2 on the top, which I don't know if you can see. Yeah, they're there. Bam. So that's gonna be your cooling system plus the fan we got for the CPU, and then the GPUs will come with cooling, and the PSU will come down here. So now we're gonna go ahead and install the PSU on here. All right, guys, just so you know, for your PSU, make sure that you do get one that will give you enough power for all your components, which I completely forgot to tell you in the beginning of this video. So we have a 650, which you saw earlier. That'll be plenty for this build. So I wanted to make sure you guys remember that. We're installing the PSU. So for each of your guys' case, it's gonna be a little bit different.
So this way?
So yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, woman, I know, I'm sure.
Okay.
Don't be questioning me. I've done this before. Yeah, because look, you see it's up there.
Yeah, the writing's right. Yeah. That was right. See? I know what I'm doing.
So when you start to think you know what you're doing, just go ahead and close this video, okay? All right, so now we have Lauren here screwing that little bracket onto the PSU so that it stays in place in the case. So she's just gonna screw all 4 of those spots in the corner. People will have questions asking whether your PSU's fan should be facing up or facing down. I can't give you a straight answer. If your case has grates on the top, then if you put your fan facing up, it's gonna suck the air out of the case that's hot, and then it's gonna shoot it out. Or if you wanna keep your PSU cool and you have a grate at the bottom, then you can make the fan face down and it'll suck in the cold air from the outside, which is pretty much the floor, and then throw the heat out. So I believe if there is no grate on top, you should definitely make sure to face it down so that the grate is taking the cold air from the outside. But if there is a grate on top that allows for the PSU to suck the air out of the heat from your inside of the case and shoot it out, you can also do that option. Alright guys, so we now have the PSU installed. She just screwed those 4 nuts onto this white bracket right there, and then she just screwed this piece back on there. So now we have our nice PSU installed. So we're gonna go ahead and install the hard drives and SATA drives, HD drives, whichever drives you want to use. First things first, make sure you can open the box. So depending on what case you have, depends on where you can put the SATA drives. There's a bunch of different components on each different PC. So for ours, we're actually gonna go ahead and put our SATA drive on the back. It's gonna be any of these 4 little spots. So you can put one here, or one here. So we're gonna go ahead and put one there, on one of those. Okay, so we installed our SATA drive on one of these spots. There's 3. For us, we had to unscrew this nut, pull off the piece, and just put 4 little nuts on each corner. So your PC might be different. This is how this one is. So that's how we have our SATA drive connected. Now we're gonna go ahead and put her hard drive, which there's 2 components in the bottom, which we'll show you, right down there. So all you gotta do is just slide one of those out, and you can install a hard drive, yeah. Click it, yeah, just like that. Nice, easy tray. And we're gonna go ahead and screw it on there and put it back in there. She's screwing in the screws into the hard drives, and then she's just gonna go ahead and slide that bad boy right back into that spot. Right on the track. All right, so now you have almost everything installed. The last thing left would be your GPU, which is your graphics card. I like to do the graphics cards last just because it's so big and you don't want it in your way when you're connecting all the other wires to the motherboard. So I'm gonna do it where I'm gonna connect the GPU last. If you guys wanna go ahead and put the GPU on now, you can, it's up to you, but I'm gonna do that last. So right now we're gonna connect all the wires to the motherboard. You are gonna have to look at your manual to make sure you can see which ones are included on yours specifically, because they're all different. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this one, and you can follow along, and then maybe you can read along to try to figure out yours specifically. We're gonna go ahead and start off with connecting all of these bad boys up here on the PC to the motherboard. So this one's always a little confusing. You gotta make sure you find this on your own manual, so you make sure you do this correctly, okay? So Lauren has grabbed the wires. She put them through that bottom piece right here. Just so you can see, they're always the little ones with all these weird little stupid little things right there in the front. This is our manual, so it's gonna tell us these and how to connect them to this JFP1, which ours is in that little bottom corner right there. That is a JFP1 right there, and we gotta connect it according to this. So you're gonna have to do that on yours, because it might be a little different than ours. So as you can see there, she's installed all the front components to that little spot right there. That's my light, sorry guys. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next part. So now that we have the front, we're gonna go ahead and connect power to the motherboard. That one's pretty simple. It's this bad boy right there. right next to your RAM. Big old, nice big slot. It's gonna be one of the wires on your PSU. So as you can see now, she actually plugged in the power straight to the motherboard. That's the first wire you're gonna plug in. Now the next you're gonna go ahead and plug in the CPU, which she's already pulled into the top. These bad boys right here, it should say CPU on them. And you're gonna plug it into that little top right corner, into those wires up there. Make sure you plug them in correctly, it'll tell you on there. And refer back to your manual if you're not specifically completely sure about it. So as you can see, Lauren did install her power to her CPU, which is this wire right here. She installed her 8-pin into that spot right there where it says CPU power drive. Usually they're the same on all motherboards, but you should just double check in your manual just in case. So now we're gonna go ahead and install the SATA drives, which are gonna be SATA powers, which are gonna be right here. These are the wires for them. So you're gonna go ahead and use these. We have one H drive and a solid state drive, so we're gonna go ahead and connect both of those. So one thing that I did not mention, depending on your PSU, if you have a modular, semi-modular, or non-modular PSU, if you have non-modular, all the wires are gonna be already connected to your PSU. If you have semi-modular, then you're gonna have to connect some wires to your PSU depending on how much you need. So what we did not do is look to see if it was modular or not, or semi-modular. So the PSU, she's gonna have to take it out and we're gonna plug in some of the power wires that we need for the SATA. And then once we do that, we're gonna go ahead and put the PSU back in. She's gonna connect power to her solid state drive from the PSU. So as you can see, she plugged in one power to the SATA, solid state drive. And then you follow that same wire and she connected another point, because all these are extra points you can use, to her hard drive, which you can see right there. So now she has power to her hard drive, the HD version, and then the solid state version. Now we're just gonna go ahead and connect these wires into the motherboard. So you're gonna connect the one to there, it's gonna go straight through there, and it's gonna connect to all these little spots you have right here. So you have 6 different slots you can use. You can have up to 6 pretty much memory. Here guys, as you can see, so she connected her SATA wires, went right through there, and connected them to these 2 spots. So now she has her solid state drive and her hard drive connected. We are now installing the fans pretty much. Depending on how many fans, depends on how many you're even gonna need. You might not need to use all the ones on your motherboard. But for sure you're gonna have a CPU fan. I would hope you need one. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you at least the CPU fan. CPU fan is connected right at that top part, right there. As you can see, Lauren already connected it. So right there, she connected her CPU fan. It will say CPU fan on the motherboard, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. Okay guys, so as you can see here, she's connected all her fans. All those bad boys right there. There's a fan right up in that bad boy right there, and then her CPU fan, which is over there. So if you have RGB, you do have to do an extra step. So most of the fans that have RGB also have a little plug-in that you can plug into that have, where you can get power for the RGB. And that is gonna look like these pieces right here. You can freaking see them. They have like 4 little pins right there. That piece right there. So you're gonna have to connect, hopefully your PSU has them. Wada is connecting hers right now so that she has multiple of them. And then you plug them into these bad boys. All right guys, so we have all the fans connected. We also have all the RGB components connected. So that one, there's only 3 fans that have RGB. So only 3 of them need to be connected. All that's left is to connect the GPU, right? And then we're done. Well, actually, one other thing is we have a 3.0 USB. So some motherboards not have it, but ours does. So our 3.0 USB actually connects right there. You guys can see that. So we're gonna go ahead and plug it through here and plug it in right there. And there it is, look at that. Just go ahead and slide that bad boy in. But I'll let her do it because she's the one who's the newbie and she needs to learn to do this. Also guys, if you have audio, which I just plugged in, any of the stuff up here, it's actually in this little corner over here. Yours might be different though, just check it, but most likely that's usually where you plug in your audio for the front. So we got one more thing to install on this bad boy. That's gonna be your GPU. That's pretty much, I feel like, the easiest and last to do, just because I don't like it being in my way when I'm installing everything. So we're gonna put the 2060 in there. We're gonna show you how to do that too. Open that bad boy up. Let's look at her beauty for the first time. Woo, look at her.
Hey,
look at her glory.
on camera.
Let me check out her glory. Damn, look at that thing, it's beautiful. I love looking at your new GPU. Make sure you take all that plastic off though. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know, man, you a newbie, you gotta make sure you're doing it right. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. You got it. So for this one, you're gonna go ahead and put this on one of these slots right here. I'm gonna go ahead and show you which slot it is. It's going to be the PCI Express. So we're gonna go ahead and take off these 2 brackets right here with 2 screws. Take those off. And then the SATA itself actually already has 2 spots. Lift it up here. Brackets right here. So you're gonna go ahead and put those 2 spots, slide them right there, and then you're gonna connect it right there. Well, Lauren's gonna do it. I'm gonna watch her do it. And you guys are gonna do it at home. Thank you. Okay, so you see these little slots right here. You're gonna make sure when you put it in that you line it up properly. Because if they're not lined up properly, you're gonna mess some stuff up. And there she is. So she has connected these 2 screws, and make sure to plug it in right, and it slides right in after you open up the slot. So it should just snap right in. Last thing left is she's gonna connect that little power right here. So she's gonna go ahead and push those through. So make sure you get the right connectors. So that one is a 4, so she has a 4 prong on there. Just gonna connect it right in there. So everything is finally connected. We're gonna go ahead and plug the power in to see if ever the fans turn on, the LEDs turn on, and everything's working properly. You should definitely check your motherboard to make sure everything works on it. So just check to make sure all the prongs you plug in actually do work. Because if not, you definitely want to change your motherboard, but you still can. Here we go. This is it for now. Let's see if we can turn her on, and she's good to go. We're gonna find out in just a few seconds. So Lauren just plugged it in. Now she's gonna go ahead and turn it on. Press the power. Okay, so now we got some power to your
Nothing
PSU.
exploded.
Now we're gonna go ahead and turn her on for reals. Go ahead, press the power button. Woo! Are all the fans spinning? Look at that, all the fans are spinning. What's up with that RGB?
What's up with the RGB?
It's not working. I don't know. Did you plug it in all the way? So far, guys, everything's working. The fans are working. Even is the GPU working, fans? I can't even look. Hold on. Turn the lights.
Yeah.
It is? Nice. Those are working. The only thing we seem to have a problem is this bad boy right here. The RGB might not work, but we won't know if the RAM itself works until we actually install Windows on this bad boy. And then we can actually look in the BIOS to see if it says 32 gigabytes of RAM or if it only says 16. But other than that, everything got connected properly. Everything's working properly. That's how pretty much you build a PC. Okay guys, so actually look at that. We got them both working. I think what actually had happened is that DIMM slot wasn't pushed in all the way. That was pretty much the only problem. So just make sure that you actually hear the clicking sound when you push them in all the way. And this is a beautiful build. It's gonna be a nice 1080p ultra settings PC. All we gotta do is put that Windows 10 and we're good to go. Alright guys, so there you go. We finally built a brand new PC from scratch. Someone who's never built a PC before. As you can see, anyone can do it. It's not too complicated. I mean, it definitely looks very hard when you don't know what anything does or what they're supposed to do. So even me, I felt that way the first time I built a PC, but now if Lauren can build a PC, you can build a PC at your home. How do you feel about building a PC?
It was definitely a learning experience. I would highly suggest at least reviewing how to do a PC build before actually building it. Make sure you're looking at the right screws. That's going to be the biggest. Yep. When I realized that, it was definitely a facepalm moment for sure.
And it happens. It's okay. It's gonna be. Obviously, if you're new to this, it's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen overnight. So it's okay to mess up. Don't get frustrated, and definitely don't throw anything because these components are expensive. Obviously, as you can obviously tell when you buy yours. But anyways, if you liked the video, please leave a comment. What are you guys building at home? And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you did want to see how it is after the build, because I know there is definitely things that you have to do after that some people just don't do. If you'd like to see a video like that, just let me know, and I'll go ahead and make one for that. Because you do have to install Windows, and you have to install the drivers, and then sometimes they're in zip folders, and that sucks. Because you're like, what do I do with zip folders? It's definitely a lot when you're new. Especially, like for me, it was definitely hard the first time I had to do this. But until next time, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.